All right, we're here at EVGA, and first thing I'm going to do is unbox these glasses for Kane that they provided with. These are specially designed for Kane's eyeballs, his special eyes. All right, FTW, that's the For the Win edition. This is extremely overclocked. This one has a 10-phase power design on it. We have more power coming to it for more overclock ability. ACX 3.0, and this one has the straight heat pipes that go through the middle here. Heat pipes right in there, but they kind of go straight through the middle there. 100 millimeter fan right here on this one, and full-on RGB. Let's take a look at the backplate on this one since it's here. There's all the ports, as you can see. Backplate's looking pretty nice there, adding some rigidity and all that to this. So quite sexy RGB on this card, as you can see. And also the SLI bridge is RGB, and you can change it. There's a little adapter here. You can change the RGB. I forget where the button is, but where is it? I don't know, there's a button in here somewhere they were pressing. But you can change the color on this as well. Color here. Here's the ginormous classified edition card. Again, custom stuff going on here. 14-phase power design on this. They haven't figured out the overclock just yet. Now let's check this out. So, one of the things people, when they're building a custom case, these things are ugly and the cords come out of the top. Like, look over here at this. The cords just come right out of the top there. It's kind of ugly. Well, with this, what you can do is take this little device. It reroutes the 2.8 pin to here, which will be coming out of the back, and you just plug it in right here. There we go. It lights up, and then now your cables are going to be coming out of the back over here for better cable management. Let's take a look at the back plate on this guy. There's the back plate on this. You can see it's nice. Adding rigidity. And again, this is going to be an RGB card as well. So that's the classified. We also have the water-cooled 1080 right here. These are also the high bandwidth bridges. 2 and 2 if you're going to, separate them a little bit more. Anyway, there's the hydro cooler. Looks very much like the stock cooling unit with the water added onto it. So there's that one. Let's get some updates on the new case and the laptop. Come on over here. Playing a little bit of Doom here on the SC17. This is a 17.3-inch 4K UHD laptop that we showed you guys at CES. Extremely sleek, extremely nice. 32 gigabytes of RAM. This one has the i7 6820K. The update here is they used to have a glossy screen. Everyone was like, oh man, a glossy screen on a gaming monitor? This is going to be something we're taking around. Now it's a matte screen. Oh yes. See that? Just a little bit of glare. I'm pointing it up at the lights right now. You can see a lot of glare when you point it at the lights. But, in most situations, the matte screen is going to be much preferred. Now let's see the updates on the case. All right, taking a quick look at the DG87. They've just updated a couple of things. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this because we already showed it to you. But they added HDMI right down here on the bottom. There's USB Type-C right there as well. So got some fancy stuff going on there in the I/O. And also they have added a button up here that ramps the fans up to 100% and changes your power mode in Windows. So a couple little things, just you guys have seen this. Let's go over and take a look at a couple power supplies over there. This is the EVGA Supernova 1000 GX, 80 plus gold certified. The main thing I want to talk about with this one, they've got their fancy fan design and everything. I think it's a new type of hydro bearing fan. And just put it right here beside this 450. 1000 watt gold certified. 450. Look at the size. That is ridiculously small. So that's kind of nice. Now this is the 850 GL, and this one is mainly similar to the last generation, except hey, we got some LEDs and that sort of thing. So kind of cool. And again, this is 80 plus gold. I've been liking what they've been doing in their power supply line. Very interesting stuff here from EVGA. All right, you're looking at the Plextor M8PE, and we have it in a couple different flavors here. This is Gen 3 x4 PCI Express, pretty ridiculous speeds, and it's running on the Marvell 88SS1093 controller. You can get it in 128 gigabytes, 256, 512, or 1 terabyte. And the random IOPS on this are over 240 for the 1 terabyte. So that's pretty crazy. That's on the right. On the read, it's around 280,000. So that's the 4K randoms are pretty ridiculous on this. Now let's talk about what they're doing to sort of give this a nice boost. This big heatsink right here, and on this back there you can see we have a nice blackout PCB, very sleek. But the heatsink is what really helps. There's some Samsungs and that sort of thing on the market. We have this one here, and this one here is also same specs right here on the M.2, but whereas the Samsung does not have a heat spreader or whatever, we have one here, and I think one of the Samsungs might, but inside there you can see there's a thermal pad right inside there, and then we have the heatsink on top, and that will really help it when it starts getting super fast, because, you know, Gen 3 by 4 is freaking fast. How fast? Let's take a look at the screen. So here we have a couple different capacities. This is the 512 gigabyte, and you can see there's the speeds. Pretty freaking nice over here on the 1 terabyte. Look at the freaking read. 3280 on the read. So in order to get that, they're going to need those heat spreaders. And then Marvel controller seems to be pretty freaking nice. There's the 4Ks down there. A little lower than I thought it was going to be there, but that's freaking fast, man. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at their external drive. All right, well, we got another Marvel controller for this marvelous device and this marvelous, nice aluminum enclosure. It's got a nice feel to it. So this is a USB 3.1 interface using the Type-C connector there on the top, and this one goes all the way up to 512 gigabytes. This is going to be a nice little extra. Jesus, that's sleek and small. Carry that around with you, so you'll be able to take this and throw it in your pocket and put all your operating systems on it. So they're running a test on this right now to see how fast it is. I'll just show you the read over here, what we've got so far. The write's going to be very similar in performance, but as you can see, you know, pretty much what you'd expect from an internal standard SSD. Not too bad. Walks through the serene mountain pass. The snow lands on his shoulders. We're at Xigmatek. What am I talking about? Let's look at some cooling stuff, speaking of snow. All right, you've seen all this stuff, but let's go over here and look at something new. Look at this. Look at the size of that block. There's no pump on the block. What's going on? Why is it so flat? So their brand new water cooling units have the pump here, right there. See, right in the middle of all those fins there. So you can get it there, or you can get it traditional, which means you can get it right on top of the water block there. Put the pump right there. So this will come in a 120 and also a 240. This one has the block right on there, and you can get it like that, or you can get the block built into the radiator. So that's pretty interesting. Now also the LED on this, well, there's actually going to be an LED. See the line right there going around the side? There'll be an LED on this, so you will have a little bit of bling if you want some bling going around the sides there. Kind of sleek. All right, let's check out some of the power supplies. All right, first off, check that out. That's the Shogun, and it's a 750 watt power supply. It's gold certified, mostly. The thing I'm really highlighting here is it's going to be Japanese capacitors, but the size of this, it's a really nice and compact 750 watt power supply. Now a lot of their new power supplies are going to be coming with something very special here. Let me just show you what I'm going to do. La da 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 da, cooking cables, do do do. Nothing wrong with it. What's going on here? Let's try this again. Okay, this time I'm going to burn it. Yes, I'm burning my thumbs more than I'm burning these cables. Jeez. All right, so they've got some fancy technology going on here. Now, a lot of you guys are thinking, well, if there's a fire in my case, well, sure, it's gonna burn everything in the case, and then my cables will be the only thing left. I'm like, well, you know where most of the fires come from? From bad connections in your cables or something fraying and catching on fire. So if something happens on the inside there, the fire should be isolated to the inside of the cable, and therefore not get out into your system and burn your house down. This is the NRP VC series. This is their 500 watt, and they are guaranteeing 500 watts on this. And that's pretty interesting because they said the price point should be somewhere around the 40 to 50 range, which is a very low cost for an 80 plus 500 watt power supply, in my opinion. Usually you don't want to go too low on price, but since it's 80 plus, should be pretty safe on this one. It's not all Japanese capacitors, but they do primarily use Japanese capacitors on this, so you have some mix of Japanese and the Chinese capacitors in this one. You're looking at the Midgard 4, and I kind of like what they've done with this because it's mostly just an open area on the inside, but you can see we have these brackets, so you can slide things around, and you can also slide things forward and back because there's just all these areas where you can screw stuff in, and then this is going to be a bracket for support for your VGA there, and then up front here we have room for a 240, and on the top we have room for a 240 as well. So lots of room for that, in here. Now the hard drives and stuff. Let's go down and look at the hard drives here on the bottom. They are going to go in here. So all those are going to be right in there. And you can see the SSD is just mounted just above this, and the hard drives are also going to be down in here with the power supply, and that's going to isolate the heat down in here. At the top here, this is going to help us, for getting all the dust out of there. Nice little dust filter, of course. And then there you can see we have room for that. Actually, there's a 360 up there, so not just 240. You'll be able to fit full-on 360 up top. And then up here we have our fan controls, USB. We got 4 of those. Come out of there, USB 3, USB 2, all on here. So we got, and then again, fan controls. Big reset button, big power button. Moving on over, let's take a look at this ginormous case. This freaking monster is the Talon Etch. This is going to be somewhat modular on the inside as you can move these things around. This entire, Jesus, the amount of hard drives would make Kane freaking stand on end. This is ridiculous. So now you can put 2.5 or 3.5 inch drives in here. Come out. See there, you get your mounting, and they have also been smart enough to know that they should put the screw holes there so it's not in the center, so that all of your ports on the back, as far as your SATA connector and power, are going to line up between the 2.5 and the 3.5 inch drives. Now this entire bracket here, you can mount a 240 over here, but this entire thing can be removed. There's some screws on the bottom underneath here that you can remove if you flip the case upside down, and then you can just pull this entire thing out, because, I mean, who's going to use that many hard drives other than Kane and a few of our crazy members? Probably a lot of people. And then this can also be moved. You can move this forward and back, so that's kind of crazy. And then when this is removed, you can put plenty of fans up here in the front. You can put a 280, 240, 120, 360, all that stuff up here. Do the same in the back. Just so much room. And then after that, look at all these cutouts you have here. Rubber grommets, just mess with those things. Put the biggest power supply you can find in here. This case is made for overkill, so go ahead and get it and overkill everything. Sort of a rubberized coating on the front. Here's the I/O. No Type C or 3.1 yet, but we do have 4 USB 3 there and 2 of those, and it should be easy to mod this thing. And this thing's like, it looks like it'll come off and you can get another one, but you know, pretty good for now. Buttons feel good. Everything feels nice on this. Let's take a look at the front. Oh, we got some fans in here, and look how easy it is to mess with stuff in the front. Just, yes. Little doors there. We can get in there and touch stuff. Yeah, close it up. Moving on to the next case. This is the Venga 415 Etch. As in, look at these etchings, aren't they beautiful? Now, this one here, the idea is that you can just come in and do anything you want with it. As you can see, there's lots of holes here. Now, you may be able to mount some 3.5 inch drives here. You can mount some trays here. You can mount whatever you want here. So, go crazy, mount some more 2.5 inch drives here. Speaking of 2.5 inch drives, there's some grommeted little screw holes here to mount those there. And then other than that, it's just a big open case. You can put a 240 on top up here if you like. You can put a radiator in the front. And then also you can put a 120 here in the back. So decent amount of room, but the idea on this one is just a giant open space for people who want to come in and play around and do anything they want. And also, we got this. It's got a window. Man, this thing's been handled. It's got, excuse the handprints. I'm knocking it around. Steel and plastic construction. This one's pretty much all steel with the plastic front here. Dust filter in the front. That's always nice. What's this? This suits my case. We'll look at this in just a second. First off, I want to look at this one right here. All right, this little turbine right here is sort of the evolution of the Aquila. It's not called the Aquila. It doesn't have a name yet, and they're kind of working on this. It's going to sort of highlight your ITX components in this nice little window here. They're working together with NVIDIA, so it's got the green thing going on. You'll see an NVIDIA GTX probably right through that window, once they get a final version out. It's going to be a little bit heavy. We got plastic, and then this is aluminum here. Aluminium, everybody in Europe, please be quiet. Now, this is going to be a little bit heavy. They might replace these with plastic, but the aluminum does give it a nice feel and a nice look. And also right in the front, we have a 200 millimeter fan that just really turns this thing into a turbine. It looks like a turbine because it is a turbine. It's just blowing the air all the way across your components, and then it should be exhausting out the back. So I expect that it'll be nice for that. Also, the motherboard's going to mount in there flat on the inside, and then you'll have your other componentry on the bottom, like your hard drives and your power supply and stuff, to create 2 different chambers, and this will just blow air across all of them, all the way across. Pretty freaking cool. Octon's 236B. Now, this one, again, large open area, just for all kinds of stuff to go on. But they've had this compartmentalized area on the bottom here for your hard drives and stuff, so that's cool. And even this case, look at all these screw holes here. So you have lots of different options as far as, depending on the size of your GPU, as far as, how tall it is. And this is just going to add a support bracket for all these nice heavy GPUs you're going to be playing around with in here. You can put a 240 here and also a 240 on the top. And they've got this one decked out with their Xigmatek water cooling. So decent, sleek case. Plastic and steel again on this one. This is not exactly a case. I mean, it technically is a case, but it's not a full-on computer case. Look under the hood, shall we? Now in here we have a GTX 1080, and we have one of their SFX power supplies. It's 500 watt 80 plus. Actually, I'm sorry, no, this is not SFX. This is a full-size power supply, but this is full-size, right? Yeah. But look how tiny this 500 watt 80 plus bronze power supply is. It's freaking tiny. So that fits in there. They've got a little sort of a daughter board down there on the bottom. And then this is powered through Thunderbolt. So this entire thing is mainly for people who want to game with their laptop, but their laptop doesn't have enough power. They can use Thunderbolt, and now, suddenly, they've got a GTX 1080 on your laptop, or you can do this with a desktop if you wanted to, if you have a tiny case that doesn't have enough room for, the GPU of your choice. So that's kind of cool. This cute box is a Qbox, and it's a suitcase that you can take with you. There's a handle. Can you handle that? Check out this latch. I'm going to unlatch it and see what goes on inside. But first, we're going to take a look at the power and reset and the 2 USB 3 ports right there that you're looking at. Good. There you can see them. All plastic on the outside. Let's see what's going on the inside here. Got some vents all over across the top. Open, shall we? Oh, there's brackets here to mount stuff. Mount fans. Yeah. 3.5-inch drives? Looks like a fan to me. What? Fans? I don't know. Put a fan on there. Put some 2.5-inch drives in here. Some room here to do other things. What would you put right here? Yeah, power supply. Yeah, you put the power supply right there, and it's got one of these cords that snakes around, you know, so you can plug it in correctly. But yeah, that'll plug in internally. Motherboard's going to go here, and then you have a large space for the VGA. Look at that. It's probably about 400 inches right there. Probably at least 400 inches. So yeah, it's 1,000,000 inches. It'll support all graphics cards. And then this goes here. If you're a fan, you can have a fan there. It's a nice little LAN case. Don't want people stealing your graphics card at the LAN party? Well, lock it. Another thing that's really cool, if you want to do your build and stuff, this entire thing, couple of screws in there, actually it'll just pop all the way out. So it's really just a case for your case. So just in case you want to take your case to someone else's house, don't let them get on your case. If they do, just lock it.